And welcome back to another video on the rest of the way and to another edition of AEW Dynamite Out of 10. This week's show featured 6 matches, including one title bout, and yeah, on general there was a lot of things going on in the show because the Young Bucks were attacked before Dynamite started. We started off the show with backstage footage of them being taken to hospital and being attacked before the show ended. Hangman Page went with Matt and Nick, but Kenny Omega stayed behind for the match against El Hijo Kingo. And yeah, Hangman Page really tying into that dynamic already, and Omega guilty that he wasn't there. So yeah, very intrigued to see where that goes in the future. Maybe the Bucks are taking some time off. But the first match was Cassidy, Sting and Darby versus Butcher and the Blade and Kip. Cassidy and Kip started the match, and the two stars came to a stalemate. Sting and the Butcher were tagged in. The Icon unloaded with a few backhands on his opponent. The Butcher then took a cheap shot to get the advantage. Sting hit the Singer Splash, but a brawl ensued among all the stars shortly after. The Hall of Famer then rolled out the dagger before tagging in Darby Allin. He got a 2 count on Kip Sabian as a stretch from Penelope Ford then allowed the heels to take the advantage. The Blade then hit a few shots and got a 2 count on Allin. The Butcher applied the Boston Crab to keep up the momentum. Orange Cassidy was tagged in and he hit a DDT on Sabian. The Butcher ran over Cassidy before Kip got a 2 count on the international champion. Sabian was posing, but Sting came in from behind and took him down. He applied the Scorpion Deathlock. The Butcher and the Blade forced him to let go of the hold. Darby came in and took out the Butcher and the Blade, but Sabian took care of him. Towards the end of the match, Orange Cassidy hit the Stun Dog Millionaire on Kip Sabian, and Adam followed up with a cutter. He then took out the Butcher and the Blade. Sting hit the Scorpion Death Drop to get the pinfall victory. And Jack gets 7 out of 10 from me. Good stuff. Great to see Sting back in action. That was really good. And Jack, just like the trio there, it was always going to be a babyface win. And Jack, just good start to the show, really. 7 out of 10. The Guns then took on Top Flight on Dynamite. Dante Martin took the Guns down early on before Top Flight double teamed on the champions. After a cheap shot from Austin, the title holder managed to get the upper hand over Dante. Colton then hit a series of stomps and then followed up with a brainbuster for a 2. Austin was tagged in. The heels exchanged quick tags and wore down Dante. He then dodged the Guns and tagged in Darius. The latter came in with a flurry of offense and hit a standing Spanish fly on Colton for a 2 count. Dante came in and got a 2 count on Austin before Darius took out Colton with a dive through the ropes. Dante then hit a dive on Austin but only got a 2 count as Colton put his brother's foot on the rope. The Kingdom came out of nowhere and attacked Darius Martin. Dante Martin took them out with a dive, but the Guns took advantage of the distraction, hit a 310 on Yuma to retain the gold. But that wasn't it though. Post-match FTR came out to confront the Guns. The heels said that no one loves Dax and Cash and brought up them about defeating the former stars. FTR then proposed that they would never challenge for the title if they lose another match, but the Guns declined the offer. Dax then said FTR would leave AEW if they lost, and the Guns accepted and spat in the challenger's face before walking out. Pleasant. Yeah, I mean, it gets 6 out of 10 from me. The match was neither here nor there for me. I'm still not really feeling the Guns title reign, and yeah, the FTR stipulation, it definitely adds something to it with all the rumours recently. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. But this segment, and especially the match, it didn't properly do it for me, to be honest. So yeah, 6 out of 10. It was then time for Hook versus Stokely Hathaway in a no DQ match. Stokely looked to escape, but Hook stopped him, and the FTW champion then hit a suplex on Hathaway at the ringside area. Hook brought out a guardrail and placed it under the ring, but the former WWE star used a fire extinguisher to blind him. Hook recovered and unloaded on Stokely with some vicious shots. He then slammed Hathaway on the guardrail, but stopped the 3 count. The FTW champion then applied the Red Rum to pick up the easy submission victory. And yeah, this is all it should be, really, just a bit of fun. Hook gets more over. He's kind of good for this role. Stokely as well, he played it really well. So yeah, on the whole, I mean, it wasn't great or anything. I probably won't be remembered for too long. But you know, it did its job and was definitely entertaining. So yeah, I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10. But anyway, Adam Cole was out next and was interrupted by Daniel Garcia before he could reveal his opponent next week. Garcia that he had become a locker room leader and welcomed Cole back. The JAS member then said that Adam Cole had been playing games on Twitch while Garcia had been busy and defeating the likes of Bryan Danielson and Brody King. The Panama City Playboy stated that Chris Jericho's faction had given Garcia a false sense of security. Cole added that he has beaten some of the top stars in the business before challenging Garcia to a match on next Wednesday's show. So yeah, it's going to be Cole v Garcia. Yeah, I don't know. I don't really know who I had in mind for Cole's first opponent, but it probably wasn't Garcia. I'm just kind of hoping it doesn't lead to a big feud with the JS, because I think we've seen that enough recently with stars like Ricky Starks and that. So yeah, I hope it doesn't lead to that. But you know, Cole v Garcia next match should be a really good match. But anyway, then moving on to John Moxley against Stu Grayson. Grayson charged at Mox before the latter unloaded with shots. Grayson retaliated with a few of his own before Mox took his opponent down with a side headlock and got a 2. The action briefly spilled to the outside before Mox got the upper hand with a suplex. He then shoved Stu Grayson onto the guardrail at the ringside area. The BCC member then applied a Boston Crab, but Grayson reached the bottom ropes. After back and forth between the two, Moxley slammed down Grayson on the mat. Mox then hit a Gotch style pile driver and got a 2 count. He then unloaded with stomps for another 2. Grayson came back with 4 on strikes and slammed Mox down for a 2. He then went up to the top rope and wiped out Claudio and Wheeler Yuta. Mox then took him down with a dive inside the ring. Grayson recovered and hit a 450 splash for a 2. And Mox reversed Grayson's offense and applied the bulldog choke. He then hit some knee strikes for good measure, but Stu Grayson got out of the submission hold after hitting a cannonball in the corner. Towards the end, Mox and Grayson were on the top rope, and the purveyor of violence hit the Avalanche Death Rider to pick up the victory. And yeah, this was a really good match. Gets 7 out of 10 for me. Kind of proves exactly why AEW re-signed Stu Grayson. We know how good Mox is and how good he is in these sorts of matches, but Stu Grayson really showing how good he is here. Mox was always going to get the win, but yeah, Stu Grayson definitely got put over in defeat here, so it gets 7 out of 10 from me. Next up on Dynamite was Sky Blue versus Toni Storm. Toni charged at Blue and hit shoulder strikes. The latter retaliated with 4 arm strikes before taking down the former WWE star with a drop kick. She then hit a huge diving Hurricane Rana to get the advantage before a brief moment of hesitation led to Storm taking her opponent down with a haymaker. She then hit a hip attack to send Blue to the outside. Saraya and Ruby Soho managed to get a few cheap shots behind the ref's back. Toni Storm was in complete control as she hit a suplex at ringside. In the ring, Storm got a few 2 counts, and after her offense, she then drove down Blue by pulling her hair and hit suplex to follow it up. She then hit a snap suplex and threw her opponent in the ring. Sky Blue made her comeback with a roundhouse kick and followed that with a diving crossbody. She then got a 2 count before Blue looked to hit the code Blue, but Toni Storm dodged it and unloaded on the AEW star. She then hit a rope assisted DDT for a 2 count. Sky Blue hit the code Blue, but the referee was distracted by Ruby. So after a back and forth, Storm hit a shotgun drop kick. Towards the end, Storm hit a hip attack in the corner and then followed it up with a German. She finished off Blue with Storm 0 on Dynamite. And yeah, post-match the Outcast looks to do more damage to Sky Blue, but Willow Nightingale and Riho came out to make the save. Yeah, I don't know, I feel like it's kind of time the storyline progresses now. I think all 3 members of the Outcast are now faced off against Sky Blue. Riho and Willow Nightingale coming into the storyline kind of makes sense, and hopefully, yeah, it kind of progresses from here. So I'll give it a 6 out of 10 for this segment. But yeah, in the future, I kind of want to see more progression, you know what I mean. It was then time for Kenny Omega versus El Hijo del Vikingo in our main event. He took down Omega before the bell could even ring with a couple of high-flying moves. After a back and forth, Vikingo hit an implosion Hurricane Rana and hit a shooting star press on the outside. He then hit a 450 splash for a 2. Omega needed to come back with chops and then followed up with a few right-hand strikes. He then hit a backbreaker for a 2 count. The action spilled to the outside and the cleanest shoved Vikingo on the guardrail. Kenny placed a T-ball at the ringside area. Omega hit another backbreaker on Vikingo in the ring and got a 2. He then pulled his opponent's brace before the ref stopped him. The best bout machine was in control during this stage of the match. Vikingo made his comeback with a Hurricane Rana and battled Omega on the apron. Omega then hit a monkey flip after the duo's brief scuffle. While here, Vikingo climbed up the turnbuckle and hit a Dragon Hurricane Rana on the apron before dropping Omega on the floor. Both men were on the top rope and Vikingo hit a Hurricane Rana to send the cleaner flying. Vikingo then hit a Phoenix Splash from the middle for a 2 count. Omega got a 2 count after hitting a knee strike and followed up with a Nelson snap. Omega then hit the V trigger and looked to hit the one-winged angel, but Vikingo countered with a reverse Hurricane Rana. He then placed Omega on the table and hit a 630 splash off the middle rope. Both men struggled to get up at ringside. Vikingo got a close 2 count after his offense. The 2 stars exchanged strikes while on their knees before Omega got up and hit a knee strike. El Hijo then countered with a sunset flip powerbomb for a 2 and went for a 630 splash but missed. Omega took advantage and hit a one-winged angel and knee strike to pick up the victory on Dynamite. Post-match, Schiavone entered the ring for an interview with the cleaner, but the BCC came out of nowhere and attacked Omega. Suddenly the siren of ambulance played throughout the arena and it's Hangman Page, the one revealed to be inside the vehicle. He charged the ring with a plank in hand as the heels retreated. Don Callis looked to stop Page and threw himself down on the mat. He seemingly blamed Hangman Page for the attack, causing friction between the cleaner and Omega. And yeah, this was just a perfect finish to Dynamite. The match was just bloody incredible. Go back and watch it if you don't know about Hijo Vikingo. You definitely do now. Omega's so great to see him back in singles action. And yeah, the storyline afterwards, I think it's the BCC who is going to commit all the attacks though, I imagine. But yeah, Omega, Page, already tension there. Just what, a week after reuniting or seemingly reuniting. Yeah, it's just a brilliant story and I can't wait to see where it develops in the next few weeks. So yeah, this was great stuff. 8 out of 10 from me. Overall, AEW Dynamite gets a 7 out of 10 from me. Yeah, on the whole, it was a really good episode of Dynamite this week. The main event, like I said, was incredible. The stuff going on with the attacks throughout the show was really good as well, all leading up to the main event angle. And there's some really good other stuff on the show, even about the likes of MJF, Danielson, etc., on the show. Yeah, AEW still produced a quality episode of wrestling. But anyway, guys, that's it really. Thanks very much for watching. Remember to like, share, subscribe, and it's all kind of time. I just want to show you for daily wrestling news and subscribe to the channel. It's going to be greatly appreciated. Thanks very much for watching. Peace.